Caroline, and we shall all try and keep as optimistic as possible. Before Tuvia comes to speak, I want to read a short passage from the book, and I'll try to make it short. It's on page 158, and it starts, "Today I'm going to join an Israeli tour guide and a bunch of Italian teenagers on an educational trip arranged by an Italian institution in Milano. We meet at Damascus Gate, Bab el-Amud, Shar Shechem, and we are heading to an quote-unquote, an Arab village destroyed by Jews in 1948, end of quote. Good. Itamar Shapira, the guide hired by the Italians, will be leading the tour. Itamar says, "Welcome to Israel, Palestine." He greets us on the bus, belonging to an Arab company and driven by an Arab. Itamar is the only Jew here. We are going to be treated today to a research tour that will teach us about Israeli occupation and annexation of Arab lands in Israel, Palestine. Quote, "Jerusalem has 900,000 residents, 36% Arab, 20% ultra-Orthodox, 10% secular, who are the Israeli elite of European background, as we've just seen in the elections, and the rest are the monster creatures, the settlers." So says Itamar. As the bus is moving to its destination, a police van is driving by us, and Itamar explains, "This is the skunk, a vehicle used by the police to disperse demonstrators. The impression we all get, and I guess this is what Itamar is driving at, Israel is a police state." We keep moving until we reach our first destination at the main entrance of Jerusalem, the village, a bunch of deserted houses called Lifta. We get off and start walking down the hill. Itamar spots a shaded area, and we pause our walk for a short lecture by him. The Jews, quote, "seized this village in 1952, end of quote, after passing a new law when they also seized, quote, 92 to 94% of the rest of Israel, end of quote, within what's called the Green Line. It is via this law," he adds, "that the Jews expropriated Arab-owned lands all over. The young Italians stand or sit around Itamar and listen. They take pictures, some write down everything he says, and all are intimately involved as if the piece of land belonged to their grandparents." I'll skip a few lines. Itamar has maps that he uses to teach us history, and he loves to talk about Jews. "How many Jews are there in the world?" one asks. Itamar says, "This is hard to tell. Some say there are 55 million Jews in the world. Some say 20 million. Others say 12 million. Is he Jewish? I don't consider myself Jewish. I consider myself an ex-Jew." They laugh. And then one asks, "Can Christians become citizens of Israel?" Itamar says, "You can convert to Judaism, become a Jew, and become a citizen. But I would not advise you to become a Jew." The Italians now laugh even louder. I take a moment to speak with the organizer of the Italian group, a young lady named Alice. I ask her which organization is behind this trip and how much it all costs. "This trip," she says, "is organized by Casa per la Pace Milano." Pardon me for the wrong pronunciation. A peace organization to provide peace education training. Each person pays around 1,000 euros for 2 weeks in Israel and the occupied territories. Alice is visiting the occupied land for the 4th time. It all started a few years ago when she spent 3 months in Nablus and fell in love with the Palestinian people. "How many other countries is Casa per la Paz Milano interested in?" asks her Tuvia. She says, "Israel is defying and breaking international law, does not keep agreements it signed, does not respect human rights, and is an occupying force." Got it. But how many other countries does Casa per la Paz Milano organize trips to? Or maybe Israel is the only country in the world that does not respect human rights. Yes, there are other countries, there are. And is Casa per la Paz Milano organizing trips to those countries as well? No, only here. 1,000 euros, including flights, tours, hotel, food, and whatever else. Yes, 1,000 euros, but don't publish the article before next month, okay? Why not? The Israelis would expel me if they knew. 1,000 euros is very little. Who's paying the rest? The organization. Who gives them the money to do this? The European Commission. So the European Commission is funding this trip, right? Yes. We take a photograph together. Next month, when back in Italy, Alice would love to see her picture published. I ask Alice, for the sake of looking at all sides, she and her friends also go to the other side, the Jews, and hear what they have to say. Well, she says to me, the group is with the Jews today, and tomorrow meeting with Itamar. And later they will be with the Palestinians. This way they will see both sides. No wonder Silvio Berlusconi was the longest serving post-war prime minister of Italy. It takes the Italians ages before they figure out they make no sense. I want to invite Tuvia now to say a few words, and after he speaks, we will have a few minutes of questions and answers, and I'm sure he'll be willing to answer most of your questions. Tuvia with me in the shirt, right?
Oh God, yeah, why not? Sorry, I'm addicted to Coke. Diet Coke. I can drink it with a cup. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you very, very, very much for making that. Some people came from the north, so I thank you very much for doing all this schlep to come here. I also want to thank Ilan and his father and Begin Center for making this evening. And Ilan, thank you for publishing the book. And let's make it in America. And thank you for Rotem Seller, who is also here in the crowd. Where are you, Rotem? Paul, for publishing the book in Hebrew. And I also have to thank Rabbi Arik Asherman of Rabbis from Human Rights. Where are you? Here. Where? Stand up so I see you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Arik Asherman. I apologize to you when we opened at the launch party of the Hebrew version. We had the chapter about you and what you are doing with the Palestinians and the Jews. We didn't do it today. We went for another Jew, so my apologies. Ilan, the book about America is already in the making, about to be in the making. The German publisher asked me to do that, and this is the next book. In Germany, there are 3 books. It's a trilogy. The first is called Allein unter Deutschen, alone among Germans. The second is called Allein unter Juden, alone among the Jews. The third is called Allein unter Amerikaner, alone among the Americans. This is the books, the name of the books, before written, each one of them. The first book became in English and in Hebrew and in Italian. I sleep in Hitler's room. I'll tell you soon why. And the second book, after it was done, became Catch the Jew, Foster Yehudit. The third one, I don't know why it will be in English or in Hebrew. And why? First of all, just so you know, unlike many people who write about the subject matter of the Israeli Palestinians and Israel and all that stuff, I'm not dedicated to this thing. This is not my beat. I don't have a beat. I write for the Zeit, which is like the New York Times of Germany, and I have a column in Zeit Online about sports. I am the fitness maven of Germany. I tell Germans how to lose weight. I learned it from my friends, the political journalists. They say in Yiddish, they weiß nicht, was ich heiß. They don't know what they're talking about. They are writing bullshit. Sorry, I hope I can say it in the Begin Center. So if they can write like this, why not me? As much as I understand about the Middle East, I understand about fitness. Look at me. Okay, it's very successful, by the way. It's very, very successful. It's already 3.5 years almost. It's the most read column in Germany, I can believe it. Anyway, and the next one, I don't know what it will be. Now, when the first book was commissioned by a big German company, An editor called me up and asked, I love your columns in the Zeit. I love your articles. I've been reporting about Bayreuth, about Wagner Festival, for example, about Saudi Arabia, about Qatar, about all kinds of things. About losing weight while not eating. I am not eating, you know. And stuff like that. Would you mind coming to Germany? I have been in Germany for some time before, but usually I'm there only for a month or 2 or 3 a year. Come for 3 months and write a book about Germany. I said, okay. I finished the book, went with my wife, Izzy, who is somewhere here. Where is Izzy? Right here. She accompanies me to all these things, and she works very diligently and very hard on every one of them. When I finished the book, it was not a book I expected to write. I thought, Germany, what am I going to write about Germany? It's a funny country. I love the Germans. If anybody in New York ever told me that the Germans are anti-Semites, I said to them, you have no clue what you're talking about. The Germans are beautiful people, very liberal. They are tall, they are blonde, and they are even funny. I wouldn't let anybody say anything against Germans. But after going around Germany for all those months, I found a different Germany. I spoke to people, rich and poor, smart and idiot, from the lowest economic level, socio-economic level, to the highest, PhDs to analphabet, east, west, north and south, and center. And what have I discovered? 80% of the people I encountered, and I applied normal statistics by going randomly for people and corners, 80% are anti-Semitic. Most of them don't know they are anti-Semites. They would be very shocked if you told them they are anti-Semites. But they are. For example, they think that 70% of the money in the United States and the world over belongs to the Jews. They think that the financial crisis of last decade started because Jews, global Jews, were doing all kinds of things trying to destabilize markets. They think that you, people who live here, are very bad spirit if you did not kill 10 Palestinians for breakfast. This is what they think of Jews. That's called anti-Semitism. My editor loved it, but then the boss of the company read the book because some of his friends in high places were interviewed in the book, and he said, no way, Tuvia, this will never be published because you don't know how to write. He said, we have a contract. You cannot change anything. Let me teach you how to write. Okay, teach me. Okay, take a few weeks, and he gave me an edited version. And what was in the edited version? If somebody said, I don't like Jews, in quotes, a straight quote, we have to change the word Jews to Israel. If somebody said, the Jews are the real Nazis, strike out. For example, there is a chapter about a club called Club 88. 88 is the 8th letter of the alphabet. HH stands for Heil Hitler. In Germany there is a law. If you deny the Holocaust, up to 5 years in prison. Now, you walk on the streets of Germany, which I did, and I see all kinds of clubs like this. I went into one of them, Heil Hitler Club. And they told me that the only way to solve the world problems is to kill and murder every living Jew. And the Holocaust never happened. There are Jews all over. Now, I made it public. Did the German authorities disclose the club? No. There are too many of them. The publisher said, you can't publish it. This chapter must go out. That was called editing. And then we published it in America, the Jewish Theater of New York. Became very successful, got unbelievable reviews. And another company, Surkamp, which is the elite publisher in Germany and Berlin, took it over and published it. not before, the liberal media in Germany, a paper like Süddeutsche Zeitung, which believes and preaches for human rights all over, strong critic of Israel, bashed me and called me the Jude Tenenbom, the Jew Tenenbom. Other things that I got, I was told that I'm hysterische Jude. Hysteric Jew. I said, you want to call me hysterische anything, call me hysterische Tuvia. Don't say hysterische Jude, sorry. Don't call me the Jew Tenenbom. That's anti-Semitism. Anyway, the book became very successful, became a bestseller. And then my editor at Surkamp asked me to write another book. He said, you came to our country, wrote this, now go to where you were born, the country you know, and write about your people. I said, how much are you paying me? He gave me a prize. I didn't like it. We had a Masao Matan, we had some negotiations, and finally he gave me what I wanted, and I said, okay, I'll come, I'll do it. I didn't want to do it. I don't have any bone to grind. This is not my bit, I don't want to do it. But the prize was good, I did it. I left the country 33 years before, and I came to the country for a long time, 33 years later, for 6 to 7 months. Again with Hizzy. We live not far from here, in the German colony, Moshava Germanit, in the house of the founder of Mahsom Watch. Are you here? Thank God you're here. Lovely people. Anyway, he got out of the airport, came to Israel. It was like 3, 4 in the morning, 5 or whatever when he arrived. And the first thing I said to my wife, Izzy, let's go. I have to start writing a book. I don't know what to do. What can you do? And there's thousands of journalists here. So many books written about this. What am I going to do? What am I going to find? I have to find something to write. And she says, we just came, go to sleep. I said, no, I can't. Anyway, what have I discovered? 30 years before, when I left Israel, there were 2 tribes here, the Arab and the Jew. When I came back, sorry, I found another tribe, the European. A little bit the Americans, but mainly the European. They come in many forms, foundations, NGOs, or they are the ones who finance Israeli NGOs. Now, what are they doing, those people here? That was frightening. If they see an Arab who still doesn't hate you, they teach him to hate the Jew. They finance organization whose mission it is to catch a Jew doing wrong. That's how the name of the book came, Catch a Jew. Catch the Jew. I saw it, I lived through it. I came here, I didn't call myself in most places, I didn't call myself Tuvia. I called myself Toby. Toby the German, from the German media. I became Toby der Deutscher. And people trusted me. The Arabs trusted me because I have a good history as a German. I gave it to the Jews. The Jews trusted me because they thought, like me, the Germans are so nice and kind. It is paradise to walk here as a German. But it was hell what I found out. Again, I am not a right-winger, I am not a left-winger, and I am not a centrist. I have been all of them. I don't care for them anymore. Personally, I don't vote in any election. I want to teach myself not to associate myself with any party. Not in America, not in Israel. I can vote there, I can vote here. I believe, maybe I'm naive, in facts. Whatever you see, you write. Whatever people tell you, if you like it or not, you put it down. You write it down. And the findings, give you an example. Some of you read a book. B'Tselem, Israeli organization, heavily financed by Germany. Board for the Welt, Misro, etc., etc. I thought B'Tselem are nice people. I grew up in the ultra-Orthodox world, Haredi, in Bnei Brak. My neighborhood, the Haredi people called it Kriyat Vatican, the Vatican. We are the Haredi of the Haredi, we are Chazonishnikas. I always dreamt of being Yeshayahu Leibovich, of being a leftist, intellectual. I left Israel, spent 15 years in universities, was intellectual, studied whatever I could, exact sciences and humanities. And then I decided that intellectuals are close-minded, they have only one vision. So I became a recovering intellectual. But I still have a warm spot for them, because as a child I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be an intellectual. And what did I find about intellectuals here? Also horrible things. But let's go with B'Tselem. B'Tselem, as we all know, is an Israeli NGO. It produces films, for example, and evidence brutality of the Israeli army and Israeli settlers against Palestinians. So I asked B'Tselem, since I'm a German, Toby the German, I want to see how you collect evidence. Can I see it from beginning to end? They said yes. Gladly. Oh yeah. What I found out that we have all these intellectuals in B'Tselem, like Amos Oz, Albert Yoshua, Professor this and Professor Schmitz. But actually B'Tselem is an organization, a multi-million-dollar organization, is actually based on 10 people. They are the investigators, the researchers. They are the ones who produce facts. All of them are Palestinians. 10, a minion. They are Jewish, they need a minion. And I got Sarit, the spokesperson of B'Tselem, told me she'll give me the best of them, the top researcher. Atef Aburob. Where am I going to meet Atef Aburob? In the Judean desert. I said, excuse me? My iPhone will not find it. Give me a better address. He said, okay. He's in Jenin. I said, so? I can go to Jenin. Oh, yeah. I forgot you're not like us. You can go to Jenin. Jenin. Oh, Jenin, such a beautiful city, Jenin. I'm so jealous. You go to Jenin. She said, I wrote a speech like a lover, Jenin. Oh, Rabbi Shalom, I couldn't believe what I had. No, Jenin, Jenin, Jenin. Finally, I got to Jenin. Metafat Abtafat, nice guy. He's one of the people who takes Gideon Levy from Haaretz, for example, to tours in Palestinian areas to show the brutality of the Jews. Now, we had a Swiss camera team. To the camera, Atef Aburob says that the Holocaust never happened. It's a lie. I don't believe it. And I wonder, not just as he says it, but when the cameras are rolling, you're still saying it? Well, he did. Now, this guy produces reports that the Israeli army snatches little children, 10 years old, at 2 o'clock in the morning, never to be heard of again. Now, what kind of a researcher is he if he says that the Holocaust didn't happen? I challenged B'Tselem. B'Tselem said he didn't say it. It was in Israeli TV, Chadshot 2, Ulpan Shishi. B'Tselem said, Chadshot 2, the Israeli TV, which is not the right wing, edited it. We fought for 5 weeks. Then we had the idea of putting the whole clip on Facebook. Finally, B'Tselem admitted. Yes, he said it. We don't like it. We fire him. I say, wait a second. I have nothing personal against Atef. Nothing. I want you to retract the reports that he signed on. How can you believe a guy, how can you trust a guy whose research has found that there was no Holocaust? This B'Tselem did not agree. Gideon Levy did not agree. I met Gideon Levy. You know who Gideon Levy is? He's a journalist, a columnist for Haaretz, and on a weekly basis or so, he writes reports about how horrible the Jews are treating the Palestinians. I interviewed him, I said, Gideon, do you speak Arabic? No, not one single word. I said, do you know Islam? Did you study? No. But he's dedicating his life to protect Palestinian culture. Hello. So I offered Gideon, I said, listen Gideon, I go there, I go to the Palestinians, I find out what's going on over there. I never found what you are reporting. Maybe you go together. Maybe the interpreters are lying to you. Gideon said, of course, come with me. Next week, in 10 days, in a month, next week, in 2 weeks, I'll write you. Next time I go, I promise next time, and the months go like this. He never agreed to join him. So I went to one place that he wrote about, Khirbat al-Mahul. And I read his column, and he writes that the cats are dying in the Bedouins, that everybody is crying, that the dogs are eating crumbs every second day or something like that. Horrible reports. Looks like Treblinka. I said, let me go there and see. So I went to Khirbat al-Mahul. And I talked to the people, not to the NGOs people, to the Palestinians. I asked them, you tell me the story. No Jews tell me the story. No NGO tell me the story. You tell me the story. And then they told me a story totally different. And oh, what good food I had there. The best pitas you would ever have. The best cheeses, goat cheeses I ever tasted. And they were not crying, baby. We were laughing and laughing and laughing, and I promised them that I'll give them 3 naked German women when we became very friends. On the water tanks that they get from the EU. I said, tomorrow morning you come, 1 naked German here, 1 naked here, and 1 naked there. I say, Alhamdulillah. And then I learned all those things. How come that I come here for 7 months and I found this out? And there are all these journalists here, European and Israelis, and they don't. Now comes the answer, what Atif told me. Atif said to me, Toby, you know what to put in and what to put out. That's the way it works. A big, huge lie. And what I will differ with some people, yes, it's anti-Semitism. It's anti-Semitism pure and clear what's going on over here with European reporting and some Americans too. But most of them don't even know they are anti-Semites, like the Germans back there in Germany. It's so embedded in them that the Jew is a beast, that facts don't matter anymore. It's so embedded in them, it's so ingrained in their mind that the Jew is not human, that it will take a bullet to change their mind. They don't know it. I was a month ago, where you were, also with my wife, in Oldenburg, in Germany. Teacher comes to me. She tells me the story. She brings me a book for 3rd and 4th graders, approved by the Ministry of Education of Germany. And there in the book you see one chapter for kids, right? One chapter about a boy telling the story that he's playing with his spaghetti, and his mama comes, he misses it all up, and his mama comes to talk to him about this and that. Another story about Papa, who is so smart and so funny and so great. And sandwiched between these stories is another story about powerful Jews who came in 1948 to a land called Palestine and took over the land for the Palestinians. Now, what do you expect this boy to be when he grows up? The teacher refused to teach it. She said this is anti-Semitism. The school ordered her to go through a psychiatric evaluation. The psychiatrist declared that she is mentally incapable to teach children. This is reality. I have the book. Does it help? If you raise children like this from the morning, and then we have the Jews. We have our Jews. Eric, I'm not going to talk about you. We have our Jews. Self-hating to the core. They don't even know. They are working very hard to prove a Jew wrong because they bought into the anti-Semitism. They bought into this psychologically already, that they are bad people, that they are bad creatures, and they want to cleanse themselves out of this impurity called being Jewish. We had it all time during Jewish history. Some of you might know, not all of you, that some Jews in Hamburg were the first sponsor of Adolf Hitler's SS party. It's reality. The spiritual father of the Nazi system was an Austrian Jew by the name of Otto Weininger, who wrote about these bad traits of the Jew. And you have them here in Israel. And the anti-Semites, those pure lovers of human rights, identify which of the Jew is a self-hating. They give him money. Him or his organization. It works as simple as that. I have seen it. When the Red Cross, for example, which is in charge of interpreting the Geneva Convention, or the IHL, International Humanitarian Law, writes to me, the German, here in Israel, that there is one country that does not observe IHL and the Geneva Convention, and the name of that country is Israel. That's idiotic to the core. Are you trying to tell me that Putin is observing human rights? Are you trying to tell me that Bashar Assad is observing human rights? Are you trying to tell me that Assisi and Mubarak are angels? What is it? And they are not idiotic, they are not that idiots. But the hatred in them is so deep as they can see it. And as any psychologist will explain to you, if I keep telling you that you are an idiot, that you are impure, at least some of you will start believing it. And during history, some Jews are doing this. And this is frightening. When rabbis for you, no, I'm not going with you. When, not today, David. No. You are a great guy. Okay, when Doctors Without Borders, I call them red-handed, going to Bedouin places, trying to invent diseases so they can later blame the Jews. What is this? Is this not sickness? When I came in, they said, you cannot take pictures here. I said, but I'm a good German. Okay. Then the Palestinians. I love the Palestinians, I admit it. I studied Arabic, I studied Islam. I'm not religious. I'm not Muslim. I love the culture. So I joined with some people like Major General Jibril Rajoub, a big shot in the Palestinian world, and somebody that the Israelis think is moderate of the moderates, And they even gave him an Hebrew name, Gabi Reshef, instead of Jibril Raju. They trusted him. So, him and I became very good friends. We are like real buddies. We clicked. Something in us clicked. He loved his German. The spy master of Palestine did not figure out that I'm Jewish, and I felt great. You are laughing. One day, I remember, I'll never forget it. One day we are like in Jericho, at his house. And he said to me, in front of all the people, he says to me, Toby, from this day on, your name is no longer Toby. And I said, oh God. He's going to say Tuvia, and I'm going to become an hamburger. It was not easy. And then he said, from this day on, your name is Abu Ali. Abu Ali. Abu Ali. And all these people around me, do you know what Abu Ali means? In literal, it means the father of Ali. But in folklore, in Palestinian culture, it means the Kareem, the respected, the courageous. A name they gave Adolf Hitler. It feels so good to be Adolf Hitler over there. Believe you me, you get fat. And I like food. Anyway, this is the story. This is, and Jibril Raju, for example, one day says to me, if Hitler came up of his grave, out of his grave, and he saw the Jews, he wouldn't believe it. Even he didn't know how bad they are. This is moderate. But I don't blame the Palestinians. I don't blame the Muslims. And I said to conservative Jews in New York, stop with your Islamophobia. Most anti-Semitic literature in the Muslim world is a translation of European anti-Semitism. Get it. It's not nice to say it, because the Europeans look like us, at least like Ashkenazi Jews. But they are the ones, they are the fathers and mothers of this. And I see it here. Sometimes the Palestinians talk to me in words that I know they have been taught by Europeans. When a Bedouin goes and starts singing in El Aqib, you love El Aqib, I know, about the Jews who took over our plants, our trees. And I say, Aziz, what trees? It's the desert. What trees? You implanted your trees here, what are you talking about? Aziz! Finally, Aziz tells me, this is not my song. The European told me. That's the reality. It's frightening reality. Jews stand by supporting it. And now, the book came out in English. The book, the Hebrew version, was for 4.5 months or so on all the bestseller list of Israel, reached #1 on Haaretz, Timatzki, whatever. Came out in Germany. Immediately became a Spiegel bestseller, that's like a New York Times bestseller. Already 15 weeks on the Spiegel bestseller list, isn't that? Came out in America, or became available in America about over a month ago. And to this day, not one Jewish paper has written one single word about it. Not one American Jewish paper has written one single word about it. No matter how much I talked to them, no matter how much I approached them, no matter how much I asked them, no matter how much I bothered them. The Jews are sick. Even the conservative. They are afraid, they are scared. This is the reality. I'm not going to name names here. I talk to them in person. Say, write whatever you want, kill the book, but write about it. It's important. I live in Europe. I know the anti-Semitism in Europe, and I see it coming here, to New York. I see it coming to America. It's already in the academies. The book, everything in it, went to all lawyers. Everything is recorded. And the American Jews say, don't call me if they say anything. Don't bother me. You think American Jews are any better? No. Sorry. We have to face up to reality. And Caroline, it was not easy for me to write the ending of this book. I wish it not be true. I come from Holocaust survivors. My grandfather, when the Jewish agency told him, come and we'll save you before the Nazis come to Israel, Palestine, he said no. The Zionists are worse than the Nazis. The Nazis are human beings, the Zionists are not. It's my grandpa. When the Nazis came to town, he greeted them with challah and salt like the king in biblical times. They shot him. They took my uncles and my aunts before I was born, and the mama, took him to the river front, took one child by one child up to the river, 7 of them. My grandmama was screaming, and then they shot her and threw her too. If we are quiet, and if we are not doing anything, that will be our fate. Europe did not change. Anti-Semitism, the 2,000 years history, did not change. They started hating Jews because they split between Christianity and Judaism. And Jews were Christ killers. Now they are atheists. They don't even believe even. Not only they don't believe in Jesus, they don't even believe that Jesus existed. They still think the Jews killed him. Yeah. The Polish people who are Catholic tell me, they pray to Maria, mother of Jesus. They say, Jesus might have been a Jew, but his mama no way. The anti-Semitism did not stop after the war. It was just not nice to be anti-Semitic. After all, the stories came of the concentration camps and the crematoriums. Slowly, slowly, with the moving away from World War II, 70 years later, the Europeans feel very good to hate Jews again. And the hatred I live in Europe and I see it rising every year. Not by the Muslims. The Muslims are getting paid to do this. In South Africa, 3 weeks ago, you saw all these Africans. Free Palestine. Each one of them got 20 rands. 20 rand, whatever you say it. Which is about €1.50. They didn't even know what they're demonstrating about. Poor blacks. Who is paying for all this? Europe. And what I say is very simple. I'm not a prophet, I'm a journalist. I'm not a preacher. I'm not telling anybody what to think and what to do. But logically, if you have people who want to kill you more and more, and you want to become more and more self-hating, join your murderers, what do you think the result will be? 70 years ago, there were people who wanted to kill Jews. And there were Jews who wanted to be dead. They met in a room called Auschwitz. As simple as that. I'm not saying what will happen, but I'm saying that if this is the way it goes, oy vey to this country. And just as human being, I believe in human rights. There is one nation on the planet that has suffered and is suffering for thousands of years. They are called Jews. I want to protect them. As a human being, not as a journalist. I don't want you to die. I don't want you to disappear. Fight back. And be brave about it. Don't think that if you sit there in the back, everything will come well by itself. Never happened. This is not human. Even if you believe in God, and סומכים על הנס, you cannot rely on miracles. No. No way. If we let this continue, the state of Israel will be zichronah livracha. I say it not because I want it to be, because I don't want it to be. Thank you very much.
with this optimistic ending of Tuvia's speech, we'll take a few questions if anybody has. Please, whoever, I'll call just on a few people, just get up and tell us your name.